All right, so this is Jared McLaughlin. I'm here with my wife, Fernanda, and I just wanted to make a video about what we're going through right now as Texas residents and as a Texas business owner. So that decision that Greg Abbott, Fernanda, I guess you keep disappearing there. That decision that Greg Abbott made just a couple of days ago, when he said that they're lifting all COVID restrictions and opening up all businesses 100%, that was the most irresponsible and negligent decision I've ever heard anyone make, ever. I mean, for what? For what? Because he wants to stimulate the economy in Texas? Well, I'm telling you right now, the opposite is actually happening, at least as far as we're concerned. Because I don't want to kill my customers. You know, we have a retail space that we love. That's an awesome retail space that we got a perfect location. I got tens of thousands of cars driving by every single day that we've had vacant for the last year. And I know that we could open that tomorrow and we can write 3 to 4 deals per day. I know that those numbers are reasonable. You know, and we can have somewhere between a $4 to $7 million a year this year. I know we could do that, but I don't want to do that if it means that someone coming into our office space can potentially die from contracting COVID-19 from our office. Like that is a line that we're not willing to cross.
Or we can die.
Or we can die. Yeah, I mean, Fernanda and I want to start a family soon, and I mean, we already are a family, but we want to have kids. You know what I mean? So she's looking at it from the perspective of like, you know, what if I got COVID? I mean, Fernanda had a friend that was 23 years old die of COVID-19. Her dad almost died of COVID-19. We thought he was going to die. We were prepared for that. And you've had other people in your life die of COVID-19 as well, several.
Yeah.
And I've known a lot of people that have had COVID, and I've had friends of the family die of COVID-19 too. Like, I don't get it. I really don't get it. I mean, I understand the calculation that politicians like Greg Abbott are making. You know, they're thinking, okay, this is going to be popular with people, and you know, they're thinking that they're going to come across as courageous. That is the most cowardly, selfish decision that I've ever heard anybody make, ever. The moment that we hear, you know, think about it. Last week, we did not have power in Texas for an entire week. And we were lucky because we still had running water.
Yeah, a lot of people don't have water
but
and energy.
Yeah, but a lot of people didn't even have water either. Why? Because the Republicans in charge of this state that knew that the grid was not able to produce energy. So the mostly the natural gas infrastructure, but it was also wind, but it was like 7% wind. So you can't put that on renewable energy. That is complete crap. You know, but basically the energy producing infrastructure was not weatherized in Texas. It doesn't freeze a lot in Texas, but it does freeze. So when it froze for 3 days in a row, all of the energy producing capability of the state of Texas went down. They literally could not produce electricity. And because they didn't want to be a part of the rest of the power grid, either the Eastern power grid or the Western power grid, they just wanted to have it all separate because Texas is the Lone Star state. So no one could help. Like they couldn't produce more electricity from New Jersey or Florida and send it over to Texas, or produce more electricity from Washington or California and send it over to Texas. People died during that when the power was shut down. Imagine if you're 75 years old and your power goes down and now you're thinking, okay, I need to go build a fire or something like that, and you don't have water. I mean, there literally were specific examples, certainly of elderly people who were going outside to gather wood and then died. Like those are stories that are in fact true. And it's not just old people, so I mean, we are just so done with Texas. I'm done with it. I'm absolutely done with Texas. I mean, just the fact that they knew, like there were reports, and it was like 1989, 2003, and and again like 2011, where they were warned. They were specifically warned that the entire Texas electricity producing infrastructure was not weatherized. When it freezes, you cannot produce electricity. And they didn't care. They don't care. They're saying that, we need freedom of competition and deregulation and stuff like that. Well, let me tell you what deregulation means. Deregulation meant that they wanted to continue to produce electricity without weatherizing their system because they didn't want to invest the money. And they did a calculation that FEMA and the federal government would bail them out in the event that the grid went down. In the meantime, they were going to continue to reap insane profits. And then when the shit hit the fan, the feds would come and bail them out and give them money. So they're like, hey, bottom line, why would we update the infrastructure? Who cares about the people dying? And then the week after that, Greg Abbott comes out and says that we're lifting all COVID restrictions. So this state does not care about its citizens. The Republican leadership in this state does not care about their citizens. They literally do not care if you live or die. Like tens of thousands of more people are going to die in Texas because of that announcement made. What was it, yesterday? The day before?
Yesterday.
Yeah, whatever. So because of that announcement that Greg Abbott just made to stimulate the economy, well, guess what? We're leaving. We're leaving. We own a small business here in Texas. We're getting the heck out of Texas right now. Like there's a right way to do business, and then there's a wrong way to do business. Like, sure, we want to make a great living and, create some wealth for our family so we can pass it on to our kids or our grandkids. And that's the American dream, right? But I'm not going to do it at the expense of killing our customers. It's just absolutely insane.
And here's the thing, we can wait until the next winter and I can just imagine that it's going to be the same, because jet streams is what
the jet stream
is going to be worse, or let's say hope the same, and the power grid is not going to be ready.
Right.
So let's wait for the next stuff, but it's not going to be ready with these people in the power. Is not going to happen soon, at least.
Yeah. What Fernanda's talking about is that the big swing, they're saying things like, well, it was a once in a century weather event. Well, if it was once in a century, why is it happening every decade now? Mm-hmm. And you know what? It's happening more often. And it has to do with, Albert, come here, come on, come over here. It has to do with, because of global warming, the jet streams that affect the weather patterns are all out of whack right now. And that's why you're seeing these huge temperature swings. Mm-hmm. Like it got as high as 80 degrees the other day. It was like 80 degrees. And a week ago, it was 18 degrees. Like that's a 60-degree swing in 7 days. Like that's insane. I mean, some areas do see, big weather swings, but 60 degrees, like that is not normal. And guess what? The grid's going to freeze again. Yeah. We're going to have a hot day one day, or it's going to be summer one day, and then it's going to be winter the next day. And all of that goes back to global warming. And that's why, of course, we're in solar power.
Yeah, today I read that the jet stream stuff is going to appear again at the middle of the next week.
Oh, really?
So it's gonna be like windy and so or so and a little cold, but is still going. I mean, it's not that this just happened once and then wait until the next winter. It's just gonna keep happening crazy stuff.
Yeah, it's still going to be crazy. So I just got off the phone with my parents and I'm like, can we just come back and crash with you in Maine? And people are leaving Texas now. My parents were saying a lot of people are actually moving back to Maine. You know, and in certain parts of Maine, there hasn't been a lot of economic opportunity over the last couple of decades. But right now, guess what? People are fleeing places like Texas and going back to Aroostook County or Penobscot County in Maine because they want to flee COVID-19 because they don't either want to die themselves or put themselves in a position where they might actually kill people. I mean, it's just completely beyond the pale. It's just completely beyond the pale. And we, you know, like I said, we want to start a family now. So I've been trying to do the responsible thing as far as insurance and making sure that we have adequate health insurance.
Nope.
It's been horrible. Molina Healthcare was on the government marketplace and they were covering a pretty reasonable percentage of certain procedures. And I'm not going to bore you with all the details, but it was good coverage. You know, on paper was good coverage. You know, they're going to cover emergency room visits, like a high percentage of that. You know, they're going to cover all the major medical events that people have. You know, whether it's you know, diabetes or, you know, you break your leg or pregnancy, right? You know, we want to have a baby. You know, they're on paper they say that they're going to cover all these things. You know, but guess what? Insurance companies are regulated by the state. Each state decides what they are and what they are not going to tolerate from insurance companies. And the blue states are putting tighter restrictions on insurance companies and saying that, okay, if you want to do business in our state, then you have to cover emergency room, you have to cover pre-existing conditions, you have to cover basic health events, you know, that almost all Americans go through at one point or another, whether it's like diabetes or a heart attack or stroke or whatever, because we don't want to go bankrupt. We don't want to go bankrupt because we start a family, or we don't want to go bankrupt, you know, because, you know, like say that I had a heart attack or something, you know, like that's the reality that people are living with. So here we are, COVID. or COVID, or we get COVID. It's insane. Like they're trying to take away healthcare from people and not cover things like COVID-19, while at the same time, they're increasing the chances that you will get COVID-19. I mean, it's just truly horrible. And what we have been dealing with from the insurance, you know, like for instance, I got a basal cell carcinoma. I got a spot on my back that is cancerous. It's not melanoma, so it's not like it's going to spread to my lungs and my liver and everything else, you know, within a month. No, it's a little bit more slow spreading, but it's cancer. And I have to get that removed. I have to get it removed. And I've been trying to get that, get the referral
from January.
From January.
March 4th.
And it's March 4th. Like it's taken 3 months to get the authorization to do that. And they still don't want to authorize it. Like it's criminal behavior. I mean, if I sell a solar power system and take somebody's money and then don't install the solar power system, that is a breach of contract, that is fraud, and that is criminal behavior. Molina Healthcare that we're signed up with right now, that's exactly what they're doing. That's exactly like they're collecting premiums. And then I'm like, okay, cool. Well, in my insurance plan, it says that you cover these types of items. My primary healthcare physician submitted the referral over a month ago. Why has it not been authorized yet? And they won't answer their phone. They refuse to answer their phone. It's an average 6-day response rate from email. Even when you get a response, they pretend like they haven't heard anything that you've said.
My phone is like a couple hours.
Yeah. You're on hold for a couple hours, and then you talk to someone who literally doesn't know anything. Like, so once you get someone on the phone, they can't help you anyway. the doctors have submitted referrals several times. They're trying to say that our primary healthcare physician is not credentialed with Molina, when in fact he is, and he can provide his ID number and everything else. So they're trying to pretend like he can't legitimately submit the referral because he's not credentialed when he is. Every doctor that they have listed, we had to go through 49 different doctors listed on Molina Healthcare until we actually found one, and this was just University Health as an organization that actually that actually does take Molina Healthcare. So we were one out of 49 out of all the doctors listed on their website that said that they accepted healthcare. 48 said that they on the website it said that all 48 were accepted Molina Healthcare,
and they have duplicate phone numbers.
And when they didn't, we were 0 for 48. Yeah. And then when we got to 49, we finally found University Healthcare, and then they said, no, this particular doctor is full, but there's another doctor in our organization that accepts Molina Healthcare. Here's his ID number. Here's what you need for the insurance. And now Molina says that they won't even cover that either, and they're refusing to update their database. So Texas is a corrupt state. I mean, they are allowing utility companies to come in here and capitalize their gains. And then when they don't make the necessary investments in their grid, they get bailouts by the government and they socialize their losses. The healthcare system here is corrupt. Like Molina Healthcare, this is corrupt. There's no, if you're taking money from people and you have a contract to provide something for the money that you've taken, and you refuse to give people the service that they paid for, that's a breach of contract. That's in civil law. You go to a court, you win that case every single time, and it's literally stealing from people. It's fraud. I took money from you and then I didn't give you what I said I was going to give for you. And then right after that, we got people like Greg Abbott that are like, okay, well, you know what? Fine, open your doors, give people COVID, make money, it's going to be great. When we know, Texas is going to turn into a petri dish for COVID-19, and so we're out. We're getting the heck out of here. Yeah. This is just insane. So I don't know. I mean, I'm going to continue to fight. We're going to continue to fight for, for justice is really what it is. I'm going to continue to speak out on issues like this. Greg Abbott should resign as the governor of Texas. I mean, if you committed manslaughter, if I was drunk driving and texting on my phone, and then I accidentally kill somebody, because of that negligence, that's manslaughter. You kind of killed them by accident, but so maybe it's not homicide level, but it's definitely at least manslaughter level. Let alone, I know that my actions right now, because of that, thousands and thousands of people are going to die. How is that not manslaughter? And it's not just one if you do that to one person, you should go to jail for decades. You should go to jail for a long time. If you kill one person because of your gross negligence, you should be in jail for a long time. Let alone, if you're killing thousands and thousands of people, you should never get out of jail. Yeah. So this is insane. We want to continue to have a relationship with Texas. Maybe we can continue to do installs in Texas, and we'll meet with our customers remotely, and have our guys show up, of course, as we always have been, with masks and following the necessary safety protocols. But I mean, we're not just going to open a retail office out here, and we're getting the hell out of here. I'm gonna go back in Maine so that we don't. Yeah, and we sure as hell aren't going to open a retail office and just open our brick and mortar store and let people come in and just infect each other with COVID-19. Like that, I couldn't live with myself if we did that. Even if we had a big year and made millions of dollars, like I personally can't live like that. I can't do that to people. So for the safety of our family and just for our own moral compass and people that we do business with in Texas, I mean, we'll have to run this remotely. Like we'll do Zoom meetings with customers in Texas from Maine, you know, because it's better doing that than meeting with people in person and then kill them. I mean, that's not an exaggeration. That's just what it is. So I don't know. Anyway, that's just what I wanted to say, so people can get a sense of what our thought process is like. And also, I mean, we need to continue to join together. Like the Texas Chamber of Commerce, why are you not pushing back against Greg Abbott right now? Like, this is not good for business. This is horrible for business. I mean, Texas churches, you think Jesus Christ would be okay with you killing your neighbor? Love thy neighbor as thyself. Love thy neighbor as thyself. Don't, you know, if you're an evangelical Christian, how can you be okay with this? Like that's Jesus's number one thing was love, and love your neighbor. And if you're willing to go out there without a mask, then you are saying that you don't care about your neighbor. You don't care whether your neighbor lives or dies. Like right now, where we're at in the United States, you can judge a book by its cover. If you're not wearing a mask, you're an asshole. I'm sorry. If you're not wearing a mask, you're an asshole. If it, you know, like we should all be, this is not a freedom issue. It's a science issue. If I'm wearing a mask, then I am less likely to kill you. Like, why would we even have to make a law for that? But we have to, because so many people just will not respect it. I was even in a chiropractor's office a couple of weeks ago. The doctor not wearing a mask. Patients not wearing a mask. Like it's insane. It's really insane. So I mean, we're going to continue to fight for Texas, but like Texas churches, why are you not rising up and calling for Greg Abbott to resign? Chamber of Commerce, other businesses in Texas, why are we not all joining together and telling Greg Abbott to resign? Schools, teachers unions. Why are we not all joining together and saying, you know what, I'm not okay with my child going to school, getting COVID, and then taking it home and killing mom and dad or grandma. And you know what? There have been kids. There was a kid in San Antonio who died of COVID-19. Like, kids are dying from this too. It's not as much as old people, but it does happen. And imagine living your life knowing that when you were 8 years old, you gave grandma COVID and she died. Like, what kind of guilt would you have to live with for the rest of your life? And the fact that we have a governor that is okay with putting people in that situation, that is encouraging us to be so negligent of our neighbors, you know, and getting our teachers sick and our families sick and having to walk around with the rest of our lives knowing that a family member died because of my negligence. It's just horrible. So Texas, everyone living in Texas, whatever organization, whether you're a policeman, firefighter, teacher, retail worker, if you're working for Walmart, Target, if you're a barber, you know, if you're a solar installation company, if you're a church, if you're in the Boy Scouts, like whatever organization that you are a part of, how is this a part of your values? Because if you're not also speaking out against this and putting pressure to recall someone like Greg Abbott, what values are you living by? Where is your moral compass? You know, we're defined by what we stand for. We're defined by what we stand for. You know, if you don't stand for something, you're going to fall for everything. You know, like, you know, you got to stand for something. Like, actions speak louder than words. So fellow Texans, whether you're living in Texas now or you're jumping ship like we are, and then hopefully we'll come back, let's continue to put pressure. Let's, you know, all these politicians that want to pretend, that are using fascist style propaganda techniques and that are wanting to pretend that COVID-19 isn't real or that we've already overcome it. And they know that they're putting thousands of people at risk and that thousands of people will die because of things like the decision that Greg Abbott made the other day. Like, why are we not banding together? Like, this is a life defining moment. What kind of person are you going to be? What kind of organization are you if you do not stand up right now against this?
What kind of person you want your kids will be?
Yeah, what kind of person you want your kids to be? Would you be okay with your kids just being completely negligent of their classmates or family members? So look, talk the talk or walk the walk. If you're a Christian and you're talking the talk about loving your neighbor, well, then get off your rear end and walk the walk, and let's put pressure on the Republicans and Greg Abbott to reverse this decision, and let's get these people the heck out of office. Like, it's time to walk the walk. Jesus Christ walked the walk. It wasn't empty words. Is it empty words with you? Or are you a true Christian? Are you a true Christian and are actually going to live by the values and the mandate to love thy neighbor as thyself, which is at the core of everything that Jesus Christ stood for? So, you're going to talk the talk or you're going to walk the walk. That's it.